Uh, sure.
So, and let me just give. It's a very. I struggle to think what all I should include in introduction when we have Madhu in a session, but I'll give it a best shot before handing over to Madhu. So, I think Madhusudan has been a very close colleague, a friend, and in many ways a mentor to me for during our very long shared career in some organizations. And I think I would start by saying is Madhu is a very experienced professional in a lot of different areas of technology, right? Surprisingly, he started his career from the sales end of things, so he has a really good understanding of what the consumer wants. And from that place onward, Madhu worked backwards into a career in technology space, right? So he's done lots of different roles. He's done technical delivery on all kinds of technology projects. He has been a data scientist for 3 to 4 years. That's when we worked alongside. He has done the role of a senior technical architect also. So it's not just the delivery aspects. As we said in some of our sessions, the architecture becomes key. If the architecture is right, a lot of other things just happen. And Madhu is very experienced. He has been senior architect for many projects in the past. After architecture, he has also done project and program management roles, which is what brings us to the agile side of things. So way back, we used to do more traditional project management, and after that, Madhu has got into the more modern, the more unconventional ways of project management, which are collectively called Agile. And he has a lot of experience in that also. He is, in fact, a certified Agile Scrum Master, certified by the Agile organization worldwide. Right now, that is about his technical career and technical expertise in various areas. In addition to that, what makes Madhu special is he has always taken out time to take part in educational initiatives. So he has actively been, visiting colleges and campuses to talk to students, to coach students on career options and how to do well in interviews, and what kind of career options people have to make a choice in. So he's been very active. So teaching passion for Madhu for a very long time, and that is why when I requested him, he very fortunately he agreed immediately to come and speak with us about Agile and this is FDP. So without further ado, thanks very much, Madhu, for taking the time to come and talk to us today. And I will hand over the mic to you to talk about today's subject. So welcome
Uh,
to you.
Thank you, Abhijit. How do I switch my camera? I was struggling. I did not find that. I
Um, do you see the camera icon somewhere on the screen? I have a different screen than yours, so I'm not
I just
sure.
my I just see my slide. Nothing other than that.
Okay, so I know what's happening. On the online versions, it doesn't let you share camera and slides together. The
Okay.
desktop version allows you to do so.
Okay. No worries. I think I was on camera before starting this session, so people might have seen
Uh,
that.
Abhijit,
Yes, sir.
there might be one more window which he has to click, and then he will get that option. Maybe uh, are there two windows of the team,
No,
Madhusudan?
I just see slide. Nothing other than that. I'm just trying to find anything, but I don't find anything. It's just my slide
Acha,
that.
Abhijit, you have shared these slides, or Madhusudan has shared the slide?
Right now, it's being shared on Madhusudan's machine.
So you have given him presenters of link, no? I mean,
Yes.
rights.
Yes,
He
yes.
is
So
a
Madhu is,
presenter, right?
yes, Madhu is a presenter.
So he should be able to do that. There is, can you switch, Madhusudan? Can you switch on or switch off your mic?
No, I can't do anything other than the slide. There was a small window that I closed just to have
That small
my
window
screen.
must be there. It must have been minimized.
No worries. Let's catch up on that after
So
the session.
what you can do is you can minimize this current this thing window. Might be that The other window might open.
See, I just see these five things: link tools, blank screen, and so nothing other than that.
Acha.
No worries. We will, after I end my this slides, after that we can switch on camera and we can speak for some time. That will be,
Okay,
I
no,
think,
no issue.
okay. So
You
yeah,
can start. Can you
thank.
start, Abhijit?
Yes, we can.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you, Abhijit, for the kind words. So as he said, I have more than 17 of years of experience in IT industry, working with different organizations. So since he has said already too much about me, I would not like to take any additional time on that and start with the subject which I have been primarily asked Abhijit by to deliver. This is mainly agile project execution, the way industry works these days, right? So if you see the markets right now, or the industry, or the organizations, all the organizations that are working, they use agile methodologies, different methodology, whatever falls within agile, to deliver the products to the consumers who are primarily like uh, anyone within the globe, right? So the way it happens, and the reason it happens is that the public, if you see, the market is more demanding than ever these days. You expect everything to be perfect. You as a consumer want everything to be delivered fast, as at pace, whenever you need that. In addition to that, what is happening these days in the market, if you go something, if you do anything that is not required by the consumers, you get a big fallback, which really is very bad for your organization as well as company. In addition to that, for the big organizations which are enterprise level, there are regulatory things that really falls behind them, which makes it very difficult for the organizations to survive if they primarily make any mistakes in the things that they are delivering. Given that situation, all these practices came into market, which really helps them to execute what is being expected by the market and the consumer. Okay. So the way I have tried to put this together, I will go back into history a bit to talk about different software practices that we have, primarily around STLC, that really started the software engineering work. After that, I will dive a bit into traditional versus adaptive. So when I say adaptive, all the things are starting from primarily iterative to then followed by spiral, and the different models that evolved after waterfall, they fall under adaptive methodology. We call it adaptive because it adapts to situation and helps people to deliver at the pace that we are looking out for. Traditional was primarily the thing way behind, I think around 1916s, 70s, or up to late 80s. Those traditionals way really worked. I won't say primarily that those traditional ways were not really like, you can't say that it was not good or something that had lagged. Because of that, it did not survive. It survived for around 30, 40 years. And even now, there are many organizations which are using these traditional ways. And there are reasons behind that. So I will cover that when we move forward. After that, I will talk a bit about Agile, what Agile is, how really that is, does it help organizations to deliver. Then there are few Agile frameworks. I will cover one mainly, which is Scrum, which is the most common these days. Around 70% of the organizations use Scrum for their deliverable. And then we will have some time for question and answer. I will take a pause here and just ask anything like anything your expectation that I may not be covering here and you want me to cover. Just if you can let me know, I will try to cover that during the presentation in between. Okay, I will take it as a no.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we've already discussed. I think what will be great, Madhu, that if we can take some examples also while we are speaking about the processes, so it becomes very real for the audience.
All right, so I will try to cover as many as examples from the industry. even from the experience that we had, and then take it forward based on that. And if people had question in between, you can interrupt me and ask those questions.
Thank you so much, Madhu.
So I will, as I said, I will dive a bit into history of software development. Okay? So when I say history of software development life cycle, it all started somewhere around in 40s or 50s when the software boom was taking place. Everything, like anything starting from 70s till now, if you think the things revolve around these 5 or 6 things, that is, you plan, define, design, build, test, deploy, and maintain. These are the this is the cycle that is adapted then, and these are the things which is happening right now also. It's there's nothing different that is happening today than what used to happen in the past. Now the thing is, the way these things were happening and the way this happens now, that has changed a bit, right? uh, I'll just give in on the bottom, like what were the different models adopted in the past till now. That will give you a view. Like it started with waterfall, which was a completely procedural thing. It was way back in past, okay, and it was there because on those days, whatever we were developing or the way it was happening uh, was pretty monolithic and big in thing, right? Those days, the framework that is required to develop the softwares did not exist. It was evolving. And to build a framework around which technology may evolve takes time, takes a lot of planning, takes a lot of design engagement from the people. Only then you can deliver. And since that was the requirement of that time, this model really evolved. And it helped people to deliver as per the demand in those days. If you see, like even the Microsoft Windows when it came in the past, or the different operating systems that really started working in the past. In addition to that, the search engines like Google or Yahoo, which really came in. Those days, it was not following any iterative model. They were all following waterfall. The reason for that, they were just coming up. They did not have the entire thing in mind, like how the things will change. So that required a lot of planning, that required a lot of design, even before they start development. The entire waterfall, as I say, it's a procedural or entirely procedural model where you start with planning the thing, that what exactly are you trying to do. Then you define the product and put a lot of effort into designing before you build that. The effort in designing is, I would say, more than 60% than really you put into build and the rest of the cycles. And that was the reason it was there. Slowly, when the things came forward and the waterfall and the framework on top of which things would evolve started to moving in, people started to reduce the cycle of deliverables. Because in a waterfall model, slowly it took something around 6 months to a year to put a single thing into deployment or into the production. Now the people started thinking like, how can I reduce this cycle to like a 3 months or 4 months cycle so that I can deliver at a faster pace? That is where the iterative came in. It was again a waterfall model, but waterfall circulating in different iterations. You break down the big requirement into smaller ones that can be delivered and then iterate through it. You do in one iteration one particular thing, and then second iteration you again follow a waterfall, and then basically deliver that smaller chunk of piece of work that you are trying to develop. That primarily and the end produces the product that you are thinking of for. For example, those days, if you see the internet banking, which was, I believe, coming in because those days ATM machines were in use. Very few internet sites had like few banking sites and other things as those internet banking available for the people to use, right? So they came up with how they will evolve as they develop public website in a different kind of like monetization. Along with that, they will start in parallel developing the transactional banking, right? So public websites are primarily open to the people. However, the transactional banking are available to only those people who are authorized to use that. So in the parallel iteration, you can do both the work in sync. At the end of the cycle, when both the work has been completed, two waterfalls running in iteration in parallel, end of the day, you can do an integration testing and deploy. That will give a complete user experience to the people who are looking into it. So that way it went into iterative model, followed by, like I say, spiral, V model, or Big Bang. These were many smaller things that people followed primarily to deliver during those days. This happened between 1960s to I would say 90s. In 90s, when you say by the late 90s, I would say 95 onwards, what happened? The consumer expectations were increasing a lot. Okay, Amazon, Google own products. Now, if you see and go to Amazon and see a product, every day they are changing their site, right? You don't see the same site every day. You see a site different, and tomorrow if you log into the same Amazon, you will find a new feature. Why this is happening? Reason being, like they were starting to do marketing over internet. Most of the sites coming up every day, they realized that people are expecting something else than they were expecting yesterday. How can I really achieve that as a as a developer, as an architect, as well as a project manager or the program manager who are trying to deliver this into market? So all these primarily market variables really asked people or the industry to look out for the new thing based on which they can really deliver at the pace that market was looking out for. And that's where all this agile evolved. And this really, like agile, just in the common term, it's not only a IT term. People, it's a misconception. It's primarily works everywhere in the every industry. Even at your home you can be agile. When I say agile, that means you try to deliver at a pace that is sustainable, right? So if you're doing a for example, if you're trying to do something in 5 days, can you reduce that to 2 days by adapting a process that is really sustainable? It does not say that you cannot run waterfall integration. It cannot say that you cannot do certain things. It's just set certain guidelines based on which you can work and increase the pace of delivery. And that's where agile is coming into picture. Any question up to this point? Okay, so I will move next. So this is the traditional way of development, which was purely waterfall. You do planning in the beginning.
At the end, Madhu.
Hmm? Yeah, Abhijit?
Yeah, normally in this forum, everybody is preferring to ask questions at the end, so we can
Okay,
carry on and invite questions at
no
the
worries.
end.
No worries, thank you.
Thank
So
you.
the way it starts in the agile, like waterfall model, this is a very traditional model, and many of us would have gone through it. We plan in the beginning. After that, we design in detail. So every detailing that is expected to be delivered is designed in the beginning. After that, you build that product, what has been designed, then you test, deploy, and maintain. Now, these things are always run in sequence. Unless you complete the first thing, you don't like, unless you complete design, you won't go into build. And unless you complete your build, you don't go into test. It is very, very hardlined, and people do follow it strictly. And there are strict timelines around that. Uh, this primarily, after that, this is the agile model. Okay. So what agile says, like you analyze and plan, you analyze the things, whatever the requirement you are trying to deliver. Once you have that requirement, you understand the requirement, just go and start building it. Design it small, build, test, and review. If you find something, some problem in the review, just go back, redesign, rebuild, retest, and just iterate through it in the iteration or the time of iteration that you have agreed to within your team. And based on that, once you find that the cycle is complete, you go back and deploy it. After deployment, you take feedback from the consumer You take there different ways people take those feedbacks. After that, if you find that there are some additional requirements or the additional things that people are looking out for, you again put it back into analysis, do the same thing and come back. And these cycles are pretty small, the iteration of building, designing and testing that goes between 1 week to 2 week max, but the complete cycle of iteration that falls is maximum of 1 month, not more than that. So it makes things deployment of the things pretty fast. Now the reason it came in, if you see, the first thing is pace of delivery that I have been discussing for some time. However, I have not touched the thing. The main thing that primarily it helps into is the cost of change, right? If you see in the traditional model on the left, if you identify certain thing or the problem, or primarily the requirement is primarily coming to you from there are various things where it comes from. It can be a consumer driven, or something market driven, or something regulation driven. So, for example, you are trying to build something into a bank, which is a regulatory requirement. Okay, and regulator says that you have to deliver this by uh, June or July, or a certain time of the year. You plan your entire thing, entire delivery under waterfall model for that time duration. In June, just before delivery, in May end, the government delivers a new regulation. Now, what will happen? That means that you have to replan everything, go back and do the change again. And what that means that now you are redesigning everything, and you will be spending a lot more into into the cycles that you have already spent in. And so the cost of change, the more later you come to know about a defect or a change or a flaw in the product that you develop, the cost of change is that much. So if I find something during deployment, if I find something during test, the cost of change is less than what I find during deployment. Or if I find something during build, like I have designed certain thing, I am building that, and then I find that there is a flaw in design. Because of this particular thing will not work. In that case, if you go back and redesign it, the cost will be lesser than if you find that thing during deployment. And that is the major reason why this, and this you come to know only at the when you are doing that particular phase, that comes in like 2 or 3 months. And the waterfall cycle usually ran between 6 months to 1 year. So if you are coming to know something about at the end of a year, you can understand the rate or the amount that you would have spent on that particular item to build. And if you are spending additional 6 months on top of it, you understand the cost that you will be bearing on top of it. That thing doesn't happen in Agile. The maximum that we plan for in an Agile practice is 3 months. You don't plan anything beyond 3 months. Even if it is a big project that you are trying to deliver, for example, if you're trying to deliver the entire internet banking for a bank, or if you're trying to build a new shopping site, right? What we do, we don't plan for the entire site one go. We sit together, identify what is the minimum thing, which is called a minimal viable product. What is the minimum thing that a particular market demands? If I know that, I will just build that. After that, on top of it, what I will do, I will start iterating. I will deliver feature by feature. I will only deliver one feature at a time. Or if I am running 5 separate sprints in parallel, I will deliver 5 features at a time. So if you find one problem in a particular feature, you don't have to change the entire thing. You just have to change that feature and redeploy it. And that will cost maximum a month, not more than that. Even the change will be only in that feature, not in the entire product. And that is the reason this is successful. And this is primarily highly adopted these days. Now, the thing is, the primary, those were procedure driven. You have to follow the process. You can't skip it. Agile does not fit any process into place. It's a open kind of forum. There are few guidelines that are set up. Primarily, that is to help you to build something around that. However, it does not hardline any hard-coded rule that you need to follow. Within an organization, every organization changes its principle based on the organization values or the way the organization works. Based on that, they change it, and they work whatever is best suited for that particular organization, or even within the organization for that. If some as a team, you should not follow that. You should only follow something which really is helpful to your product, what you are delivering. If you can make it successful by following the process that you think is best, go ahead and do that. No one is stopping you from doing that. And that's where it happens. Teams here are always self-organized. You don't build like a big team of people who will be delivering on top of that. What happens, the maximum team size within a sprint, like within an what we call a scrum team, is ranges from 5 to 10, not more than 10 people in one scrum team. So it gives you primarily all the flexibility for the team to choose or deliver what they are looking out for. It's not something that someone is going to assign you. It's primarily you understand the product first, you understand what feature you are trying to deliver. Now what I will do, I will go back and try to see what are the different knowledge base that I need to deliver this particular feature. And I come to know that I need a UI developer, I need a database architect, I need a DevOps engineer who can deliver that, I need a QA. So what I will do, I will put these four people together. That becomes my one team, and ask them that this is the feature that you need to deliver. They will see it, they will estimate it, they will plan it, and they will say that in these many iterations I can deliver that. And then it kicks off. They after that everything, every planning, all the aspects, the picking up of tasks, breaking down those tasks, everything is the responsibility of the team, and they take it forward. There are no big teams working on the different variables and then trying to deliver that, and that really makes it very easy to manage. And that's where you come in. I will move next. So as I had been saying from starting, it's a methodology. It's not a framework, not a design. It's completely a methodology which really works on for the customer satisfaction. Whatever way and whatever change you do, if it satisfies the customer for which you are delivering, you are good to go. And all the processes and procedures are kept around that. It is adaptive and it is flexible. You can adapt a new practice, and you can always, it is always flexible for you to make or amend the principles that is being followed. Only thing that happens is that these four things, there is Agile manifesto that has been set. These are the primary guidelines around which every team basically brings their things together. They follow this manifesto, and based on that, the team gets organized, the processes get organized, and the delivery gets organized. The four principle only talks about the individual. First is like individuals and interactions, working on or deployable software, customer collaboration, and responding to the change. So when you say individuals, so every individual within the team has its authority. So as I said, the team is developed or created based on the requirement or based on the deployable feature that you are delivering. As I said just a few minutes back, if I am, for example, delivering a market what I would say, like public website for a bank. Now, public website for a bank is an entirely front-end thing. It does not require backend. It does not require backend connection. It does not require any validation or authentication. It's primarily all primarily a static site that should be made available to people. Now, to do that, you just need an UI engineer. You just need primarily someone who can understand the design or the architecture behind this, and you need a QA. You need those people. You put those people together. Now they self-organize themselves. They pick up the requirement. They understand like how really do I do that, what are the different things that I need to do, and based on that they deliver. It is one person who basically owns this, is the scrum master within that team. He basically ensures that primarily what is being developed is really up to what has been agreed with the people for whom we are delivering. So that becomes his responsibility, and he is the part of the team. It does not mean that in the traditional ways in the past, where we used to have a team lead who primarily used to have all the authority to select a team, create a team, and build. And after that, he owned everything. That model has now gone out. You don't have team leads now. You primarily have people or people within the team who are doing a role, which is called a scrum master. It's just a role, it is not a position. And based on his assessment, the teams work around. One thing it always asks for is the co-location. However, like given the circumstances that we are in these days, and even the global teams, a co-location makes it difficult. That's the reason what people has come up with. Many organizations, not only whatever you can think of the big banks like Barclays, or you think of Bank of America or the Amazon, they don't have a team sitting together. They have, due to global presence, they have all the teams spread across the globe. Now, how do they build that Scrum teams? So there are virtual teams, those are built. And now to keep those virtual teams together, there are different tools that has come up, like for collaboration tool that we say. For example, right now we are using this Microsoft Teams. This is a collaboration tool. In addition to that, you have something called Atlassian Jira. Jira is primarily again, that is a collaboration and delivery tool, agile tool, which really helps you to track the progress, how we are doing on that. And all those things put together helps, even if people are not co-located, to give them the kind of feeling by which they can deliver at pace what they are looking out for. Then in every iteration, what it look out for is working deployable model. So whatever you are developing, like in each iteration that you go through, whatever the output is, that should be a thing which can be deployed, which is ready to deploy in the production. So for example, if I am delivering feature for, if I have a website that just allows cash on delivery right now, tomorrow I want that to accept through UPI. Okay. Now, since it already accepts this cash on delivery, if I'm trying to go into UPI, what I will do, I will develop a feature in parallel, which will be UPI acceptable. Now, if that feature is available within 2 weeks, if it is developed, I will just go ahead and deploy that. So, delivery through UPI, that is a deliverable and deployable product. And that should be outcome of every sprint that we go through. And it is the things based on that, which is everything is derived. You talk about only product, you only say that something is ready if it is ready to deploy. Customer collaboration, so it talks about there is a very main person in this entire cycle that happens. One person and one role, which is pretty important in the any of the framework that you follow within Agile. Someone called, sometimes it is called a product owner or a business owner, or someone who really speaks with the market or the consumers to understand what really do they need. Once he understands that, he works as a bridge between the consumer and the team which is delivering that. He forms that requirement, he confirms that he understands that requirement, and after that, he works with the team to get it ready. Once that is ready, product owner is the single, or the business owner is the single person which primarily reviews that himself with the team before he really says that go out and deploy this to the market for the consumer. This is a very important person or the role within the entire cycle, because he is the one who stands for the team and from customer side by the customer, and he owns the entire deliverable, whatever is there. Now, for him, like after the delivery, he goes back to consumer for the feedback. If some additional requirement comes back or enhancement is required, or if he feels that something has been delivered which they were not expecting for, he can come back to the team, and after that he gets that change and ready for delivery again. So that's where the everyday customer collaboration happens with the help of product owner, and this does not go beyond a month. The product owner speaks with the consumer at least on 15 days to maximum 1 month. Uh, as a when I move ahead on the way the scrums, I'll talk about what are the different ceremonies, how and how do we collaborate with the customer. But let's cover that when we reach there. Okay. Then is the responding to change. That's primarily, as I said, if you see that something has been misdelivered, or product owner identified that he had not requested for something which team has built in, he immediately says that. For that, there is a customer demo that happens every time. In the demo, if he finds some slag, he will send back to the team. Team will redevelop that, and after that, it will redeploy. Even that, in addition, this is the with respect to delivery. However, even with respect to the procedures that we follow, if you see that there is documentation procedure that I have created, in one sprint, you think that this documentation that I have been creating is not used by anyone, you can stop creating those documents. You are following certain practice, like for example, you have 2 meetings every day, and at the end of a sprint, you think that those 2 meetings are not required. You can go back and suddenly change the frequency. Similarly, like there are a number of ceremonies that basically is recommended it within Scrum. If a particular team thinks that those ceremonies are not required, they can bypass it and they can recreate a new ceremony that is really helpful for the team. So every iteration, you identify something that is not working, go ahead and change it if it is making or helping you to deliver at the rate you are looking out for. These are the features, as I had been talking about: adaptive, adaptive to change, time boxed, that I have not discussed. I think I have not talked about. Primarily, everything within Agile is time boxed. When I say time box, we say that if I say that I am locked for next 15 days, so what I do, I go back, I take a feature, and I say that I can deliver this feature in 2 iterations. What it means that 2 iterations is 15 days each, that is end of 1 month. So by end of 1 month, this will be delivered. Now team has to deliver it within 1 month, and in that 1 month, they will not accept any new requirement, and there should not be any change to the requirement. There should not be any change to the team, and team should be allowed completely to work for 1 month, and after 1 month, that should be delivered. So if that goes beyond 1 month, that means it is a problem. So it is everything, like even a meeting. If you are doing a meeting is planned for 15 minutes. It should be within that. So primarily most of the things, everything that we do within Scrum, those are time boxed. Iterative and I have talked about self-discipline and self-organization. These are the two pillars primarily that we rely too much on people into this. If people say that within the team, if they say that this will be done within 15 days, we take at their face value. Reason being, every person has a different pace. You can't say that all the person in the team can deliver at the same pace that we are looking out for. If that is not working, you can change the people. Person, if I think that I cannot deliver this within 5 days, I will stand up and say that I cannot deliver it within 5 days. And then I will be saying that I need 15 days. Okay, if time allows, or if market allows, I will give him 15 days to work on that. If not, if circumstances are not allowing us, I will find a new person who can really work and bring it out in the 5 days. If that does not happen, we go back and say this cannot be delivered before 15 days. So a lot of focus on the team primarily, or the people, because they are allowed to take their own calls. They are allowed to pick up their deliverables, and they are allowed to do that in the time that they think they can really deliver into. Customer at core, we have been talking a lot about it, because everything that is driven here starts from customer and end at customer. So that's where all these practices, or whatever we are doing to do this, comes on. Is anything here? I will talk a bit about different agile frameworks. So when I say frameworks, primarily there are number of principles that are set up, or guiding rules that are set up by different organizations. Like for example, Scrum and Kanban. These are being driven by an organization called Scrum Alliance. They have put together certain rules, or the certain principle, based on which you can really organize yourself, create your artifacts, and deliver it. Scrum, that and if a particular organization is following that, we say that this particular organization is following agile principle based on Scrum. Same for Kanban. Uh, Similarly, we have some more like feature-driven development, extreme programming, or DSDM, which is dynamic systems development and method. Primarily, these are different frameworks, and you can adopt any of these. And you can adopt something which is hybrid of these. Like for example, some organizations follow a hybrid of Scrum plus Kanban. The reason for that, uh, Kanban is best suited, for example, if you are an organization that is pretty much focused on supporting something, right? For example, if you're supporting a production system, Scrum is not going to work you for supporting systems like production system. The reason for that, it has a duration of 15 days or 5 days, or at max 3 weeks. However, the supporting systems requires a turnaround time of around 1 day, right? Maximum you can, if something is broken, you cannot wait for 15 days to fix it, or maximum 2 days if it is something which is non-priority or non-critical. You can fix it in 2 days. That's where Scrum doesn't work. You will have to adopt a model which really helps you to deliver on that, and that's where Kanban comes in. uh, uh, what it does, like it says that there are 15 things that is to be done. You just prioritize those 15 things. Now for that 15 things, those are smaller in nature. You can find if those how many of that can be done in parallel. You start picking them, deliver at. Just if 15 out of 15 items, 10 items can be delivered in 1 day, that's fine. You deliver that in 1 day, and after that pick up the second item. You don't pick up the second item unless you complete the first item. And that's how this entire Kanban structure works. Extreme program, just touch upon these, and in later slides I will go a bit deeper into Scrum. Reason for going deeper into Scrum is that is like almost 70% of the organization today follow Scrum, and that is the most adopted principle. So I will get a bit deeper into that. However, I will touch on the different items just on top. Extreme programming, that is primarily happens for something where you deliver something in 2 or 3 days. Uh, for do that, like, and so all the primarily you say online markets or big organizations which need something to be delivered to the people every 2 or 3 days, they or something systems like which has for example a rock yeah this rocket technologies, or some teams that are really working on some kind of primarily what I'm just thinking of an example from scientific organizations like which basically work on the principle which really can deliver something on 2 or 3 days. They follow extreme programming. The reason, the way it works, like you have 2 or 3 people working together. When I say 2 people, which is called a pair programming, and they reduce the cycles. Like one person is, if a person is writing a code, the second person will review the code in parallel, sitting with him, and third person will keep testing it. So it's a pair programming. It's called pair programming in the industry these days. And how it helps that you reduce the cycle of primarily review and after that test. Reason being, whenever I am writing the code, my peer who is sitting next to me is reviewing that. So rather than 2 eyes working on a product, 4 eyes working at the same time. And after that, immediately the QA is also looking at the way I deliver. And once it is ready, he will test and certify it. Once it is certified, I just go and deliver that and put it in production. You don't have to wait and go to the complete cycle. That is the reason it is called extreme programming, and it is the very fast pace. I will touch more on Scrum and Kanban in later slides. I'm just putting it for some time. Then, primarily, as I said, why these frameworks are required. So it gives you some guiding principles that you should follow, or you can make it or substitute it or change it required on based on your organization or team needs. Then a set of tools. There are a number of market tools that I will listed later in the slide. As I said, Atlassian Jira is one of those, which are available these days in the market, which you use to primarily track your progress, primarily put your progress together. How do I really do that? How do I calculate my velocity? How can I estimate that? Those are the things which really helps you to primarily put this together into the tool, and from there you can track it. Similarly, how do I organize my teams? So for example, Scrum says that you can organize your team within maximum 4 to 9 people. That is the size of a Scrum team. Where in extreme programming, it says 2 or 3 people working together with 4 eyes. So these are small principles that are termed together, and which based on which you really can work. So that is the reason these frameworks exist in the market. I've just put a industry note here. Like the reason for putting this is whenever in particular organization or try to move from traditional to these days, what happens that they start saying that, or they start thinking that they are moving towards agile. However, they don't follow all the principle. They break it, they make it, and they makes a kind of khichdi, which is a substitute of what they have been doing since past, and they're trying to adopt something which is a future, and based on that they come up with something which is really neither a scrum nor a waterfall, and it falls somewhere in between. And that's the very common term that they use, called it fragile. That means it is not we are using it, trying to adapt it, but we are yet not there. So that's the reason just I put it something which is a practical thing which is happening. On the books, you read so many things. However, you really go into the organization or work with them, you will find the problems that they are facing, the problem of adoption, the problem of resistance by the people who have been following the something since past, and you suddenly ask them to adopt a new thing which is pretty much new, which is coming in to the market. Obviously people will resist that. Reason being, they are quite used to certain things that they don't want to change into, and that's where the problem comes in. I will just try to quote some examples here. Like I have been part of, I think, 2 or 3 migration from traditional to agile ways, 2 or 3 projects where I really did this transition. And our organization right now also is going into entire transformation from traditional ways of working to agile way. We started almost 3 to 4 years back, and it is in the 4th year. Still, we have adopted only 60 to 70% of everything that the exact way it should be done. It's still 30% rending. So this transformation does not happen in a day. You have to give time. It is a 5 to 6 year of journey where you slowly change the mindset of your people. You inject them slowly that this is the new way of working that you have to adapt to. You do not say to adopt certain thing every day. You say you start with, for example, you start with changing or breaking down your requirements from bigger requirements into smaller requirements. You start with a certain kind of ceremonies. You start with start with adopting certain kind of tools that really help you to make you agile, and slowly, step by step, you really move into you get completely transformed, and from there you say that I am a fully agile based organization. And this for a bigger organization, it always takes something around 5 to 6 years to really complete that journey. For smaller organizations or a small set of people or small features, this may happen faster. However, for that, always you have to work with the mindset of the people. You have to first let them know that this is better than what you have been doing, and this will really help the organization as well as you. Therefore, we are doing this. So just put together the Scrum, how really Scrum works. Okay. Uh, Scrum principle, what it says, it has a certain set of ceremonies, certain set of people, certain set of. We'll just move into next page, and I will come back into this because that will be more helpful. Yeah, this. So these are the mainly things like I've just tried to put Scrum on a single page. Okay. So what it does, there are things called artifacts. When I say artifact, it's a product backlog, sprint backlog, and increment. So whenever you are trying to create a product, just I will say, for example, I'm trying to build an internet banking for a new bank which has just come in. Okay, and to do that, I know that there are 10 things to be done. First, I need to be, I have to make them, I have to create infrastructure for them. Second, I need to create public websites for them. After that, I have to provide authentication. After authentication, I have to provide them different journeys, like how do I move money, how do I really basically change or edit my profile, how do I do account servicing. So these are the different features a bank may need. Now what I will do, these are the all things which are the requirement of the product. That means whatever end product that I am visualizing, which is internet, bank on internet. So that is the product that I visualize. And these are the different things that I need to do to put my bank on the internet. And that becomes part of my product backlog. So you identify around 50 items that you need to do for that goal. Now those are your product backlog, which becomes your backbone to build that product. That can keep evolving. Product backlog, you can keep adding to the things, and you can keep deleting if certain thing is done. And if you like, if you change your mind and have to change and remove something from the backlog, you can just remove that. And everything that you put together into that is called a product backlog. What happens out of that product backlog that put together? What they do, they meet every 3 months, every quarter. Every organization has different name to it. Some organization says it is incremental planning. Some organizations say it quarterly planning. Some say it sprint planning. What happens into that? You plan for next 3 months. You say that in the product backlog, these are the 50 items. You prioritize those 50 items into sequence. What are the minimum things that I need to do, which is called must be? So if I say that I must need an platform on top of which I can host my public website, because unless you have that platform, you can't host your site. That becomes your primary requirement. After that, what you want to do? that, yeah, I have the platform. Have I done the capacity analysis? Do I know that how many people are going to access this particular websites? Do I know like what are the region people are going to come in? So once you try answering those questions, you will see that the product backlog will increase, start increasing. Based on that, you will keep putting those requirements and keep adding on to that. After that, you know that these are the 5 things done. I need to host my public website, which is the first thing. Now, when I meet for the incremental meeting, what I do, out of that prioritized list, I will pick up first 10 or first 15 based on the total sprint teams that I have. So for organization, so it is driven in 2 ways. Like if I see that, and if you have visualized that, you have to go live and you have to make your internet banking available in next 3 months or 6 months. That means your time is fixed. Now what you will work towards, you will try to find how many people or how many sprint teams do I need to achieve this in next 6 months. Can I achieve that? If that is possible, I will try to break that out to identify what things can be done in parallel, what are the different skill sets that I need to do that in parallel, and how many teams or how many scrum teams do I need to do that in parallel. Based on that, I can really start breaking those tasks into. If that is not the case, the second scenario could be I'm flexible with the time. However, I have my capacity or cost fixed. That means I know that I have only these many people, and where how much these five or like these set of people can deliver in next 3 months. So if I set up people is 100, I break that down into 100 people into maybe scrum teams of 10 teams. Now, whether these, how many stories from the product backlog these 10 teams can deliver. And that is what I will plan in the first iteration. That will be for the 3 months. And after 3 months, I will reevaluate whatever is happening. After that comes the sprint backlog, which is a fraction of a product backlog. So when you talked about your product backlog, and from the product backlog, based on your assessment, you picked up, say, top 50 items that you can deliver in next 30 days. Sorry, 90 days. Now that becomes your sprint backlog. Now I know that I have to deliver these 50 items with these 10 teams in next 20 days. So I will start planning my increments. Increments can be of a week or for 2 weeks. So if I say that this feature can be delivered, there are 10 small features that can be delivered in on every 7 days. So what I will do, I will create a team of 5 people, or like it's always called a scrum team, sometimes called a squad. So there are different terms you might hear, squads or squads or scrum teams. Don't get confused. All those are pointing to the same thing. I will set up people working towards a goal. Now, if I have 5 people put together to deliver these features in 5 days, those becomes one squad or one team. Similarly, there are few teams which work on the bigger features which require 15 days. So within the same organization, you will have two different teams adopting two different principles from the same scrum. One team is adopting a cycle of 7 days sprint. Second team is adopting a cycle of 15 days sprint. The first teams are developing features which are smaller in size and can be deployed faster. The second team is working on features which are bigger in size and can be delivered only in the 15 days cycle. Now, for those teams, there are different ceremonies that I have put in together, like uh, backlog planning or sprint planning, sprint daily stand-up, sprint review, and retrospective. I will go through one by one. Just however, since it is coming in between, I just cover this. For example, if you are within sprint, what happens? These are the ceremonies which what has been recommended now. So the team that has 5 people working for 7 days iteration, there is a team working for 10 days iteration with 15 people. Now the thing is that will happen. Do both the teams need the same daily stand up? they realize that the smaller team just need stand-ups once in 2 days. They don't need to meet up daily. So what they do, they adopt like, okay, I will go back. I will just do daily stand-ups twice in the week because they have only cycle of 7 days. Every day making meeting for 15 days doesn't help. So they change their frequency uh, once in 2 days. However, for the team which has a sprint cycle of 15 days, they need bigger collaboration. They need to meet every day primarily to understand what is the development that they have done and what is the progress that they have done in the last team. So what they agree on to do something or do daily stand-ups. So within same organization, same team, they are adopting two different principles of the Scrum, right? So and in the similar way, we can break it down based on the need that you are trying to develop. So that's how it really works. It's a completely flexible or adaptable, and that was the reason for citing this example here. So based on these artifacts that I have just talked about, what happens that there are different ceremonies that team do. Once I have picked up those 15 items for the increment to be done, I go into the backlog planning. Backlog is planning is something that is done within the team. Okay. So out of 50 items, suppose team A has taken up 10 items. Now, how do I deliver those 10 items? That is what I will discuss in my backlog planning. I will sit together with my team, discuss with them that okay, I have 90 days. In 90 days, I will have 15 days sprint of 6 sprint of 15 days. Now, how do I plan these 90 days into 6 iteration? What are the items I should pick up in first iteration, what in second iteration, and who are the people who are going to work into that? Do I go sequentially or should I go in parallel? Do I need to, how do I prioritize these 10 items that I have picked up into the deliverable that I'm looking out into? And this is entirely done by the team. No one from outside comes in because as a team, I have picked up these 10 items. This is my responsibility, and I will do that. And to do that, the three picture are your and product owner helps you to understand those backlog items. He really helps you to understand whatever you have picked up, whether that is right or wrong. He helps you to understand the business need. He will really help you there to find really if you are stuck there or don't understand something in terms of whatever is delivering, does it need a change? You talk to the product owner. Product owner is the single person, as I spoke earlier as well, who will give sign off to the thing that you are delivering for a particular iteration. Then the Scrum Master agrees those things with the product owner. He, on behalf of the team, with the help of the team, says that I can deliver these items. And based on that, he speaks with the team, estimates that there are different models that is available for estimation these days. One is like t-shirt sizing. T-shirt sizing primarily talks about it estimates the deliverables into extra small, small, large, extra large, and that's the reason it is called t-shirt sizing. Now, if you have for everything there is a basically baseline. If I say something is very extra small, that means this item can be delivered in 2 days. So there is a framework that team sets for themselves. If they say something is extra large, that means it needs 2 iteration to develop. So similar lines, they primarily set up parameters. Based on those parameters, they estimate their requirements that these are extra large items, these are large items, and I need these many days to deliver that. And based on that, they commit to product owner, and then Scrum Master primarily helps them to get it delivered. In addition to that, Scrum Master also ensures that if the team is blocked somewhere or some dependency from anywhere, he can unblock them. One of the blocker could be, for example, you if your team doesn't have an architect, okay, there is a shared architect within 5 teams because practically for organization it is very difficult to assign one architect in every team. So now you have set up 10 Scrum teams. You have only 2 architects, and you are not getting time for the architect on the design or a piece of blocker item that you have really picked up. Now it is the responsibility of the Scrum Master to go work with the exco or the uh, team management on top of him to find out a new architect or get the time from the same architect and agree with them when exactly he can spend time with the team so that he can be unblocked. Similar blocker could be unavailability of the environment or unavailability of a system that he is looking out for. And there could be so many blockers that a team can face. You plan for something, suddenly you find that one of the team members fall ill and he will not be available for next 2 weeks. What do I do? How really can I now make it possible for things to be delivered with one person less in the team? This is a major blocker for the Scrum Master. Now it is his responsibility as a Scrum Master to resolve this dependency, resolve this blocker, and unblock the team from getting it delivered. So Scrum Master, please, he is not a kind of, he does not have any primarily people management responsibility for those people. He just ensures that whatever has been accepted as a requirements from the product backlog planning that I did through, he has to ensure that he delivers that. He does not have to be bothered about like the typical lead people that they do that, whether these people are available or not, their availability, their leave tracking, or anything else. He just given set of people to get certain thing delivered and delivers that, and he can after this iteration he can go back or move to a different different scrum team, and he can be delivering that as well. In many times for the organizations where there are shared scrum masters, they really work on 2 or 3 different scrums or squads primarily to get those items delivered. So there are certain times those are shared people as well. So that's how these different people work in. Now, from coming back to ceremonies, as we already talked about backlog planning. Now, if you see at sprint planning, in this you plan that particular sprint that you work into. Like you plan for just next 15 days, which is one iteration. One iteration is called one sprint. Then that sprint, you go into that sprint, you develop that, you work that every day. That usually it is daily team meet, and that meeting is called a daily stand-up meeting. That happens usually for 15 to 30 minutes maximum. The format of the stand-up meeting is all the team members come together, including your scrum master. Sometime it is also primarily attended by a product owner. What people do, they come together, they say that this is the item or this is the work that I did yesterday. This is the work that I am going to do in today for next 6 hours. And then this is what something which is blocking me. If there are blockers identified, he hands that over that blocker to your scrum master. Scrum master has now responsibility to unblock that item. It's a very simple format. If he finds that he does not have a work for today, he just pick up a new work, say that I had delivered this yesterday, I am picking up this new work and I'm going to deliver this tomorrow. If he has picked up some work that is blocked today, he will say that this work is blocked today, I will pick up a new work and I will deliver this in next 6 to 7 hours, which is before your next stand-up meeting. So they just talk about stand-up to stand-up. So today's stand-up till tomorrow stand-up, what I did, what I will do, what is blocking me, or do I need to pick up something which is new. That's it. All the people talk about it. They go back and start working on that work. There are no meetings or no team meetings other than that. Every day, only 15 minutes. So that makes it pretty much simple and easy to manage, even for a Scrum Master as well as team. However, as I said, self-organization and self-discipline becomes the primary thing for these people to deliver that. Unless you don't have it, it will be very difficult for really that sprint team to work together. Uh, after what happens, so after going through that sprint, like you have gone through the sprint of 15 days, after that the team come together. It's not only the single sprint team, all the sprint team which are following your 15 days cycle, they will come together and they will do your sprint review. What happens into this, it is individual to the sprint teams, as well as certain times it is done combined. For if there are 5 sprint teams working together on a product backlog, sometimes 5 teams may come together as well, so that they can share their best practices. However, certain times it's only a single sprint team also do a self retrospective. Okay, so a sprint review happens every end of every sprint. In that, they just talk about whatever the item they were supposed to deliver and what all they have delivered to. However, into retrospective, what happens, they go deeper into it. They basically talk about what went well in last 15 days, what did not go well in last 15 days, and what are the things that I may improve upon. So I will just go back. For example, I say that we were able to collaborate together and deliver the things as expected. However, the thing that did not go well was that our Scrum Master was not available for 7 days due to this reason. So yeah, this is how people like the team member may speak. A similar format could be like I did deliver it, however, I had to stretch beyond my given time. Reason being, something was not available for me to deliver. So this did not go well, and I have to improve upon them. Then these feedbacks are taken by the Scrum Master. They put it together. Now, if there are 10 different sprint teams working, all those retrospective outputs are put together, and based on that, we brainstorm and identify that what are the things that we need to do to make it more better in the next iteration, so that whatever mistakes that we did in the last iteration does not get repeated. In addition, what happens that the pace at which we were delivering in the last sprint, we can increase on top of that, and we can sprint more items. So we can basically deliver more items than what we delivered in last iteration. So that's how this basically moves in. So I just cover primarily on this page. I try to cover everything that primarily at high level that works within the Scrum. I'll just go back where I was trying to cover what are the different frameworks, right? So this is just your sprint framework where you see there's the same things that are developed: sprint planning, there your daily scrum, followed by sprint review, sprint retro, and this spiral continues for iteration after iteration. I've just tried to capture at top level this like extreme programming, how it works, how it iterates through to do the small releases. The releases of extreme program is even smaller than you follow in sprint. Extreme programming primarily focus on delivery every 2 or 3 days, and this is like a very like I think 5 to 6% of the industry follows this right now, but it is slowly it is also getting popular, and in might be in upcoming days when things stabilize and the pace of delivery becomes more critical, you may find many organizations moving towards extreme programming. Because if you say today's what is happening, that of last days focus has been that you had people in the specialized areas, like you had DBAs, you had front-end programmer. However, industry demand today is that is moving towards full stack developers. What it says that one person understands everything that is required to deliver a particular piece of work. Now the thing is, if one person is doing that and one person is reviewing that, that means focus is on those two people to deliver that the entire thing end to end, rather than 5 people doing that work. And that's where extreme programming become very critical. The focus will be on the people, their capability and their knowledge. So that's where the industry is moving towards these days. A lot of focus onto that. People are being like, if you go and speak with the people in the industry, they are being asked to upskill themselves into the areas where they feel that they don't understand, so that they are future ready. And this will maybe in upcoming future, the way you have been talking about IoT and different things, machine learning or artificial intelligence coming in, this will be very, very critical. Maybe I will see like in next 6 to 7 years, this will pick up on top of Scrum. Next is your, as I said, Kanban. Just see the how they iterate through. They have input queue, output queue. It's a very simple board that they follow. What happens that you pick up a item from your backlog. Backlog item are typically into that a piece of work that can be delivered in 2 to 3 days. You pick up that item, you deliver it, you pick up next item. Every item that you pick up into it goes into it's mainly kind of production fixes. If you have some item which is already into maintenance, now you are see that there are some smaller production bugs coming in, or you are developing features which is a one-day feature, like you are developing a banner for the bank, or sometimes you develop a uh, small components that needs to be used into those kind of scenarios. Kanban is primarily very useful because you don't have to go to that much of detailed planning that we do in Scrum. It is very straightforward. You just put together everything, start picking from the top, and keep delivering it. Once you deliver item number one, pick up item number two, deliver it, pick up item number three, deliver it. And simply you just track it on top of this table. Then this is, I think, something thing of past now, dynamic system development method. I will not go too much into this. You can just read through if you get time. Sorry. I will just, now the main thing, how do I track progress into a Scrum? Okay. So as I said, every Scrum team have a Scrum board. So mostly if teams are co-located, what they do, they create a board kind of thing on the wall. They just draw 5 lines onto that. They just keep on stickers. On the left hand side, you see like if you have identified 15 backlog items, you will put you will write everything as a story. So all the requirements in Scrum is treated as a story, and the story is written something like this: as a product owner, I want uh, XY feature to be available for the consumer. For example, as a product owner, I want that a customer should be authenticated using mobile OTP. So this becomes a requirement. User stories are written in this format every time. For example, if you are writing a story for maybe shopping cart, so as a business owner, I want UPI payment to be available for the consumers. So this becomes one story. And to deliver this story, I need 5 things. So these are the 5 things which are required. And that becomes your to-do list. You write those 5 items on 5 stickers, put it on to-do list. Now in the daily stand-up where you come in, there are, I think, 5 people in the team. They come in. Person A says that I pick up item number one, he puts it into in progress. Person two picks up item number two, he puts that into in progress. And if 2 people are working on same requirement, both of them put out that particular item and put this into in progress. Just next day, if something is finished, they just remove that sticker from in progress, put it into done, and they pick up a new item from to do. If something is taking 5 days, that will remain into progress for 5 days. And it's simply within the team, people are taking decisions that I have finished this early, I want to pick up this item early. He can obviously pick up, even if something has been delivered, story one is delivered uh, uh, before time, you can start picking up items from story number two. Very simple tracking, very straightforward, no much complication, no documentation required. Just put it on the wall, keep tracking it. As soon as you finish it, complete that. This is the manual way of tracking. Similarly, for virtual teams which are not co-located, how do we do? So we have similar Scrum boards created in the tools. I think Abhijit might cover that later if we get time into an example. Similar boards created onto, like, for example, Jira or any other tool. What they do, you write a stories into that. All the story is an item. You can put that item into to do, in progress, and done, and you can keep moving. That's the same replica of the manual way into a digital way, and that is followed in the teams which are not co-located. And those are also very much primary popular these days. Reason being, it's very like until your team you are working from a single location, that makes it difficult for teams to primarily collaborate using these kind of tools. This has fun. This is really, if your team is co-located and doing this gives it a human touch, and primarily feel that they find different ways of playing that. Like, for example, in certain teams they have a passing ball, like who will speak first, so they carry on a ball, they just keep on passing those ball to the people who will speak next, and that gives a kind of fun, as well as a kind of human touch, as well as a presence in the office kind of environment where they can really work together. Digital is really that is required, something for the teams which are not co-located, but that surely removes the human touch that is there when you're working in the co-located team. And you can find out different ways. Like, different teams have different ways of doing these daily stand-ups and tracking their things. They can draw, like many teams draw it in a very popular way, or create funny creatures. They create draw funny things on the board, so that it puts some smile on the face of the people who are really on the team. That motivates them to work. Next is this velocity per iteration. So this is the next thing which is tracked in the Scrum. So in every iteration and end of iteration review, what we see that with these 5 people, how many stories did I deliver? So if I say that I delivered 5 in 10 days, and 10 days I work for 80 hours. So in 80 hours, if I am delivering 5 story points, that means 80 divided 5, that becomes my velocity of an individual velocity. Similarly, if 5 people were working, you calculate that, and that becomes your team velocity. That means in every iteration, how many story points or stories a particular team can deliver, and this increases your iteration by iteration. So since if you are coming for the first time working on the team for the project, 5 people, usually they take some time to really be very effective. That is the reason well you will see velocity to be on the lower side during first iteration. However, the way iteration moves up, like you go to iteration 1, iteration 2, velocity keeps on increasing, and after that, after some time, you achieve your top velocity at which you can operate. So after iteration 3, you identify that you can operate at a velocity of 80 story point per iteration. You just continue in that, and that gives primarily product owner a confidence that this team now can operate at this level, and he can estimate in more better way going forward for the upcoming iterations. That's where this velocity becomes very important for tracking the progress or the pace of work at which a particular team delivers. Here I have captured some Scrum tools. So like Monday or Hive, we have been using Jira quite extensively, because that is very much available in the market, and that's very popular because of its ease at which it is used. It is very easy to use. It has all the things that you can do manually. It helps you to do there. That is the reason these tools are here. You can use any of these based on the primarily the needs that you have. And we can move forward. I think then any questions? I think we are into Q&A now. Any questions here? Or do you want me to cover anything else that you might have been in your mind? Abhijit, do you want to do demo of the tools if you have available, if we have this available here?
Yeah, so thanks for Madhu. What I would like to do is rather than the demo, which will take a little more time, so I'm going to find another slot today later on to do demo these agile tools. But what I would like to do in just 2 minutes, because we are almost out of time. In 2 minutes,
Yeah,
I've been taking notes as Madhu has been speaking, and I have identified 4 or 5 things that make agile really stand out from anything else that we have been familiar with. And these are things which we can use not just in technical industry but also in the education world. So give me 2 minutes to just go through these 4 or 5 items uh,
right.
and and bring out, right? I think the first thing that comes to mind from everything that Madhu has said is that one of the reasons all these new technologies and new ways of working are coming is last 30 years we have evolved a lot of project management and execution approaches, but most of them are focused on processes that are labor intensive or material intensive, whereas the entire technology industry, very much like education world, is intellectual driven and people driven. All right, and unlike machines, if I bring two machines of the same type, their two will work absolutely identically. But if I get two people who look similar, they might think and work in very different ways, right? Not only that, the same person Abhijit when works with Madhu works in a different way. When Abhijit works with Dr. Patil sir, he works in a different way. When Abhijit works with Indranil sir or Prakash sir or Ankur Rai sir, he works in a different way. So a lot of individual and human relations come into picture, which is why one thing that agile process acknowledges is command and control are not the best ways to work when we are working with intellectual processes or people driven processes. So agile moves us away from a command and control way of working to a cooperate and collaborate way of working. So rather than commanding people that this is the way it will be and this is how you should do, we are letting people decide what is the best way, what is the best productivity they can get by their own means. So this is all in a nutshell. Agile is about how do we move away from command and control towards cooperation and collaboration driven work. And out of that, some very major differences come in. The first difference, as Madhu has said, that rather than focusing on rigid processes and structures, that this is the way teams should be, this is the 10 processes we will follow. No, we give the onus to teams to decide what works best for you, right? Rather than focus on the process, focus on how to deliver the better work. All right, this is the first major difference compared to the traditional processes versus agile processes, right? And a process evolves given a team, right? The next major difference we have seen from everything Madhu had said is we are moving towards smaller teams, taking more and more initiatives. The team decide, what schedule we will meet. The team decide our meetings will last only 15 minutes. And the teams are delivering things much faster. We are not picking up a very big project and delivering it after 6 months. We are taking small parts of the project and delivering it every week. And to give an industry example, I think many of us use the service called Google Duo, the phone-based video conferencing app. It was built entirely using Agile with two-day sprints. Every 2 days, they delivered one part of that. Now, when some of us are using Netflix, Make My Trip, or banking applications, they are delivering like 1 or 2 releases every day and we don't even realize it. And that rapid delivery is happening because each of them is moving to agile, which allows for people to do more stuff in smaller chunks. We spoke about agile even when we were doing demos of our how do you build IoT, and we use this word agile many times. So thanks to Madhu, we understand the philosophy behind it, but this is what agile is. Do integration, build small things over a short period of time, etc., etc. Do faster delivery cycles where you deliver small things. Engage the consumer, right? Because if you're going to deliver everything at the end of a week, every week you got to talk to the consumer, which is also going to feed into the next session. We are going to talk about, we're going to get into the minds of the consumer and see what they are thinking about technology, right? And most importantly, all this, if things are going to go at such a rapid pace, we need tools, right? Not all of it can be managed properly by hands. And that is why throughout this 5-day IoT session, you would have seen a very heavy emphasis on all kinds of tools, because that let us do rapid development, and let most of the tracking be done through tools, right? So moving away from command and control towards cooperation and collaboration, moving away from a rigid focus on very fixed structures and processes, to let teams decide how do they want to work and do best work. All right. Three, small teams delivering small chunks of functionalities over very short delivery cycles, anywhere from 1 day to 2 weeks. We don't have delivery cycles more than 2 weeks in Agile. All right. Fourth, you involve the customer more and more, the consumer more and more, so that there's a very iterative. I built this. Do you like it? Yes, I like it. I don't like it. Okay, let me build something else. What color do you want your website to be? And fifth, a very heavy reliance on tools to do all this work, which allows us to do things fast. So, and these are the things that make Agile very different from anything else we are used to. We will find a 10-minute slot or a 5-minute slot in one of the future sessions where I will demonstrate some of these tools to you, because we are out of time right now. But I hope that this has been a really eye-opening session on how the industry is working, and we are working with some of our acquaintances in the academic world to try and bring the agile approach into our BE projects, into our lesson planning, into a lot of the things we do in our institutes, right? So I'm sure it's not just for the technical industry. This is as useful in the academic world as well, right? So thanks very much, Madhu, for that. If there are more questions, I'm sure Madhu will answer or I will help answer.
Yep.
But this is about Agile.
Uh, Abhijit, thank you very much for this nice session on Agile. Thank you, Madhu, for the good presentation that you made. So there is one question on WhatsApp group which is answered partly now by Abhijit already. Mr. Vijesh is asking, can we use Agile in education system?
Mm,
Yeah.
obviously, yes. Yeah, Vijay, go ahead.
Definitely. Maybe I can, when I show you the agile tool, immediately it will click that yes, this is what I can do with it. So what I will do is, in the immediately next session, we are going to talk about consumers. At the end of it, or after the post lunch session, we will definitely take out 5 minutes, and or what we'll do is, when we wait for those 5 minutes before the session to start, right? If we can join like 5 minutes early, I will demonstrate the agile tools to you, and immediately we will spot where we can use it in the education system.
Okay, is there any question from audience? Participants, you can ask any more questions that you have. Hello.
Yeah.
I think, Abhijit, there are no more questions from the participants, it looks like.
Yeah.
Today, your audio is, and there is echo. I don't know whether I'm experiencing it or any other can confirm, any other participant can confirm. There is echo in Abhijit's.
No, sir.
No, no.
Audio is
No.
absolutely fine.
Okay, okay. No, then I'm experiencing some problem with my system.
There is some problem, maybe your side.
Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you. So, Abhijit, can we end this session and meet again after 15 minutes?
Sure, sir. Absolutely. Maybe we can start, we can assemble back by 11:55, and by 12 o'clock we can start.
So, I would like to thank you once again, Mr. Madhusudan Mishra, for his informative session. Thank you, Madhusudan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And thank you all for attending this and